Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy's podcast, Holistic Transformation. I'm your host, Dr. Beverly. I seem to have a problem with light on my glasses. Sorry about that. I'll try and keep my head down. As usual, I do have slides. So let me just do a quick share screen. And let's get this into viewing. Okay, there we go. So based on recent events, I was sitting there eating lunch one day, and this just came to me as what the next podcast should be. And we're going to talk about forgiveness, karma, justice, and revenge, and how to heal after an injustice, because we'll talk about that. So the trigger event was the community was shocked, not just by the crime, but by the wife of the person. We're not political and I'm not making any judgment, but Erica had a reaction of forgiveness. And there was all kinds of both positive and negative reactions to her reaction to her husband and the father of her children being, what happened. So some called her a saint, while others called her naive. Many were angry. They did hold a remembrance ceremony, and some people protested. I mean, it was all kinds of, the reactions are off the chart, on all extremes and in the middle, everything in between. So why did her forgiveness of so many people upset so many people? What's happening with that? So because trauma activates our unhealed wounds, we're going to have a variety of reactions. So Erica's act of grace touched a deeper collective nerve about powerlessness, about grief, and unresolved pain. And let's face it, anybody who lived through 2020 has trauma. And if you're older, especially at my age, you've lived through all kinds of traumas. I mean, the Vietnam War for me was a terrible time. When my high school class graduated, half the men got drafted and sent to Vietnam, and they didn't all come back. Okay. So that was a very traumatic time for those of us that are a little older. So let's talk about the four forces of response. So the first one is forgiveness. Now, I've had a lot of patients over the years that I say, well, can you forgive that person or can you forgive God? Some people are mad at God. Can you forgive God? No. Keep in mind, forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for you. It's for the self. It's not approval of the action. It's liberation from emotional bondage. So as long as you don't forgive, you're stuck in the trauma. You're stuck. There's 5 stages of grief. It includes anger. You might say, well, I'm not sad anymore. I'm angry. Well, that's part of the 5 stages of grief. And healing trauma is part of grief. It's just a little bit more complicated than simple grief, but sometimes grief can be traumatizing. So forgiveness allows the nervous system to stop looping in survival mode. And I can tell you, I just had something happen to me recently where I didn't realize that I had this trauma from over 30 years ago that I had been looping. And the person who caused that died. And all of a sudden, that surfaced and I was able to release it. I didn't even know it was going on. So this could have, if you had a strong religion, if you had a strong reaction, you need to ask yourself, do I have something in there that needs to be released? And we're going to talk how to do that and what that is. So the next stage, that was stage 1. So the next stage is karma. Now, this one isn't for you. This is for the aggressor. So you don't have to go after the aggressor. The universe does that for you. That's what karma is all about. So it's not ours to carry out. It's the realm of source, God, universal law, whatever you believe in. It happens when I'm sure you've done something you regret and then you paid for it. That's your karma. So whenever we do anything, and let's face it, there are certain things that when people do, I'll just say violent things, they have a serious karmic debt for what they've done. So trust that consequences unfold sometimes across lifetimes. And believe me, you don't just die. This is not the end. You reincarnate. I remember my past lives, and all the people that I know are like me. We all remember our past lives, okay? We come back over and over learning our lessons. And it's not always in the ways that we expect. You never know how it's going to happen, but you will end up paying your debt, and so will the aggressor. And my observation is the worse the karma, the more lifetimes it takes to clear. It could take you 100 lifetimes to clear something that you've done that's really egregious. So number 3 is justice. Now, this is not for you or the perp, this is for the community. So justice is a stabilizing force for society, helping to restore order and shared values. But justice without healing often still breeds resentment or mistrust. So having a big event for someone that's famous, I mean, if you're not famous, you're going to have a small wake or whatever kind of ceremony with maybe 2, 3 people, maybe 20. But when you're well known, you're going to have lots of people there. And that's very, very important for the community to move forward. So when you protest that, you're not allowing the community to heal. And if it didn't bother you, well, good on you, but that doesn't mean other people don't deserve the right to express their grief publicly. So these kind of ceremonies are not for the dead, they're for the living. It's to help the living move past their trauma and their grief over what has happened. So that's justice. So injustice. So number 4 is revenge. This is for shadow work. So when we take revenge, we descend in the very vibration we are harmed by. In other words, we're no better than the book. So this leads to, you don't hear my dogs barking. I have this new device that I'm going to point at them. Hopefully they stop barking. So when we take revenge, we descend into the very vibration we were harmed by. This leads to energetic entanglement. So karmic debt and a call for deep shadow work. So if someone does something that they have a karmic debt for and you forgive them, it's separate. And then you do your community work to heal the community, everything is separate. But when you go for revenge, now your karma is entangled. So now you may have to come back with that person to undo it. And I know with my husband and my daughter, we had a past life together and we got entangled in our relationship. And this lifetime was about untangling that issue and healing the past. So that's what we mean by this entanglement. And so when I realized that I had something that needed untangling, I had to do a meditation and do the shadow work. So we're going to talk about how do you do that? So you want to go from dark to light. That's what this symbol means, dark to light. So somatic is about the body, the physical and the spiritual. How do we heal the body and the spiritual aspects of what happened? So we can talk about this without naming the body's role of it at all. Revenge fuels cortisol. Okay. So you get under stress. Cortisol is produced by the adrenal glands when you're under stress, and revenge fuels that stress response. Forgiveness, on the other hand, opens the heart and the gut. So your heart, if you don't forgive, can become constricted and you'll have digestive issues. And one may be worse than the other, depending on your age and other health issues you may have. But it's going to affect your body. And shadow work transforms the rage into purpose. So you might say, well, I'm not in rage. Well, yeah, one of the underlying causes of cancer is unresolved rage. So a lot of people don't like to admit they have rage. They'll say, well, I'm angry, but now I'm forgiven and now it's gone. I have a relative that said that, oh, I forgive and I forget. I says, yeah, but your body didn't forget. And you have this unresolved rage. And if you don't deal with it, it becomes cancer. Okay. And anyone that gets cancer needs to deal with that rage or it just keeps coming back. So it's important to do the shadow work to transfer and not assume, oh no, I forgave. I did that. Oh no, guess what? You need to clear it out of the body as well. So we'll talk about that some more in a minute. So some of the ways you can do that is with breaths work, with the intention of emotional release. Inhale good air, exhale any negative energy, negative thoughts, negative feelings. And it's just by your intention. You just do a long, slow inhale, pause quickly, and a long, slow exhale, pause quickly, and just go in and out with the intention that every exhale is releasing. You can also use EFT. Some people call it tapping. They use acupuncture points. You can also get acupuncture. There's actual points in acupuncture. They're called ghost points that can help specifically. There's also points like yin tong and do 13, 14 that I needle on people that this helps you move forward. And then this helps pull back all the negative energy that may have risen up into your head. When you get mad, your face turns red and you get angry. So you want that energy to go back down and be more balanced. And then tapping, of course, and you're just literally tapping acupuncture points. Okay. And then you can journal. So one suggested journal is what part of me believes revenge would make me feel whole? And I'm sure you've seen movies where someone went for revenge, and at the end, people will say, do you feel better now? And they always say no. Revenge does not make you feel better. Okay. The only thing that makes you feel better is forgiveness. Remember, forgiveness is for you. Karma is for them. The universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, takes care of the perpetrator. And it may take multiple lives, but they will pay their debt over time. Okay. Some more tools. I'm sure most of you have heard of Ho'oponopono, especially if you're watching my channel. So Ho'oponopono is for ancestral clearing, and it can also clear your space. It can clear you. So what I like to use is the way I learned it from Dan Millman back in the 90s. It's got a little extra one in there. I love you. I honor you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And you say it at least 3 times. I usually say it for 10, 15 minutes. And you'll find that that will really uplift you and your environment. It doesn't just help you, it helps your environment. In medical astrology, we've got more slides on this one. Saturn retrograded into Pisces, and the impact is on karmic patterns and karmic healing of our body. That's what that retrograde is about. So whatever Saturn didn't fix when it was spent a couple years in Pisces, then it went into Aries, and now it's just gone back to clean up anything that it missed. And right when it went back, that's when this incident took place. So why retrograde in Pisces matters now? So we'll be from June 30th through November 15th. Saturn will be retrograded in Pisces, the final sign of the retrograde and the cosmic archetype of soul memory. So it will be doing a dissolution, a compression, and hidden suffering will be eliminated while it's in Pisces. Because that's what Pisces does. Pisces is a water sign, and it's a flow, and it washes things away. And so Saturn went back there to say, hey, we've got some stuff we need to clear. So this is a perfect time for clearing any residual energies that need to be cleared. So when Saturn retrogrades in Pisces, we're invited into a karmic review of our emotional, spiritual, and physical boundaries. So do a meditation. How are you doing? Is there anything you hadn't seen? Is there anything else you need to release? And maybe this was a trigger to cause you to think about, well, is there anything else? Do I have some other trauma, maybe not even related to this, that I need to let go of? And Pisces dissolves, it's water, it dissolves, and Saturn restricts. So Saturn hung on to it, and now in Pisces, the water can flush it away. So this tension is between letting go and being held accountable. So you are not accountable for someone else's karma. So you need to do the forgiveness to let it go and untangle yourself. Otherwise, the two of you have to come back and resolve that issue between the two of you. That's an entangled karma. You don't want that. So during this window of old karmic patterns resurfacing for release, the ones you really want to pay attention to are past betrayals. So someone that lied to you, cheated on you, left you when they promised they wouldn't, whatever betrayal it was. It could have been business, relationship, family. Spiritual guilt or religious trauma. Maybe your family's mad because you left their belief system, or some other kind of spiritual gift. You did something you think was wrong and you haven't forgiven yourself. I know for me, I had that when I first started working with Buddha Maitreya, and he said, by the way, you're forgiven. I just broke out into tears. I'm forgiven. I didn't think I could ever be forgiven. And that's when I realized I have to forgive myself. So forgive yourself no matter what you did. Whatever karmic debt you owe, trust me, the universe will take care of that. But untangle it and move forward. Patterns of martyrdom, sacrifice, or escapism. So if you're doing any of that, then you have to deal with forgiveness and letting go of yourself and for others. Chronic fatigue is a symptom. So if you have chronic fatigue, you're stuck in blame and shame and martyrdom. If your immune system is confused, 1 minute you're okay, the next minute you're sick, then you're okay. It can't decide if you're sick or not. Or you have some mystery illness. You're sick and nobody can figure out what it is. It's time to do the shadow work. Forgive whatever it is. Even if you don't know what it is, just say, I forgive myself completely for everything. I ask forgiveness of the universe. Please maybe do some Ho'oponopono for a while. My phone is going crazy. I hope you can't hear it. Okay, so Saturn rules structure and time, while Pisces rules the flow and unconsciousness or subconscious. The retrograde creates deep nervous system dysregulation, and that can show up as wave-likes of fatigue, burnout. You can go back and forth between freeze and flee. 1 minute you're just, I don't know what to do, and then the next minute you just want to run away. And you can be re-triggering old trauma responses, often with no logical trigger. Why is this happening? What's going on? And I know for me, I'm okay now, but for several weeks, I didn't know why. I was taking Rescue Remedy almost every day. I highly recommend Rescue Remedy when your nervous system is deregulated. The Bach flower remedies are pretty good at that. And so is lavender. I also was lathering myself sometimes several times a day with lavender. Then I found out that someone I used to know died. And when that happened, it all got released. And that's when I realized, oh, I had this unresolved fear. And I had to work on releasing that because it was upsetting my nervous system. So you might find yourself sensitive to noise, light, energy fields, like when the Schumann resonance goes out of whack, crazy. I know it was affecting me for a while. It was going crazy. Another journal that you can say is what you've been ignoring in your soul, I will now make physical. In other words, if you don't deal with this, it's going to be affecting your physical body. So you want to journal that. What in my body is being affected and why? So we're going to dive a little deeper. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can make this a little bit bigger. Oh, I can. You might want to take a snapshot of the slide. So health impacts, so the feet, the lymph system, the lymph flows up from the feet and the lower legs. So sometimes it gets stuck down there and you get swollen ankles or lymphedema. It causes swelling. It can cause cold extremity, cold hands and feet, and drainage. So your lymph doesn't drain, it has to drain up. So the spiritual cause of this is walking an outdated path. In other words, you're still blaming yourself, you still haven't forgiven, whatever it is, and you're holding others' karmic burdens. So you're entangled because you didn't forgive. Your karma and their karma have become entangled. Next is liver and detoxification. So you get emotional toxicity, consumption. Oh, overconsumption. This can be aggravated by Jupiter is now in Cancer, which, Cancer is another water sign like Pisces, and Jupiter wants to expand. So you could be hurting yourself by a poor diet, clogging the liver. There's many things that clog the liver: drugs, alcohol, recreational things, even marijuana clogs your liver. The spiritual cause is escaping emotions, unprocessed grief. So you need to sit down and process those emotions, process your grief, process your anger, process your rage. And then you have your central nervous system and your brain. So you could have brain fog. Your central nervous system is your spine and spinal cord. And you've also got a peripheral nervous system. All of that can be affected. It can cause sleep disruptions, fogginess, psychic overwhelm. So your intuition doesn't work. You maybe can't see auras anymore, whatever it is. This is all messed up. The spiritual cause is an overload of cosmic energy without grounding. So walking outside on the grass, if you have grass, grounding with a grounding mat, doing a foot bath, something that grounds you. You can use lavender or frankincense are very vetiver's grounding. And then the endocrine and pineal could be affected. So this would be sleep-wake dysregulation and low serotonin. So, and this means your pineal gland your pineal gland isn't working because it needs the serotonin because it creates the dopamine, which creates the DMT. So suppressed intuition, ignoring your dreams or not even remembering them. And you may have a spiritual calling and you can't even read it anymore because you're just all dysregulated. Okay. So some additional practices to use to alchemize these karmic debris and bring structure into the Piscean chaos. You can do a saltwater ritual. And this would be where you take and maybe adds either sea salt or Himalayan salt to your water, and then do a ritual where you're drinking the water or using it as part of maybe you write things down and you burn it and then you put it out with the water. Some kind of ritual. You do a meditation and ask, how do I do a saltwater ritual? You could soak your feet in Epsom salt. I suggest adding lavender and or frankincense. They ground you. Lavender is unnerving, so is frankincense. So very, very grounding. And frankincense has an earthy smell, but lavender has a very enlightening, uplifting scent. So I would use maybe twice as much lavender to the frankincense. And then visualize Saturn clearing ancestral imprints from your body. So you just do a meditation, and here's Saturn. Do I have another picture of Saturn? Here's another picture of Saturn. Okay, so there's more than one planet with rings, but it's a big one. Okay, Saturn is one of the really big ones. Oh, I went too far. Here we go. So visualize Saturn. If you have a telescope, Saturn, I think, is visible right now, probably in the morning, I think. You want to clear ancestral imprints from your body. So if you don't, you can just use a picture or just visualize it in your mind and just say, I let everything from my aura and my body, every cell of my body, I release it and I cleanse all ancestral imprints and all of my imprints and just let that flow out. And you can do that while you're soaking your feet or while you take a shower. Showers are very clearing. They cleanse your aura. You can just stand there for a minute and just release it while you're in the shower. So a tool you can use, again, I always suggest journaling. It's very powerful. So you might want to take a screenshot so you have these prompts. One of them would be, what karmic cycle am I being asked to end gently but firmly? So you want to let it go with love. Love yourself. Don't blame yourself. There's no shame. There's no, what do you call it? I don't know. I forgot the word. But anyway, just release it. It's okay that you didn't release it sooner. Forgive yourself and just let it go. Where am I over responsible for others' emotional burdens? So if someone else is in pain, that's none of your business. That's their journey. If you're angry, that's your journey. You need to deal with that. That's not the other person's problem. So when someone says, oh, I'm so offended, well, that's your problem. Okay. When something affects you, that's up to you to deal with it, not the other person. Now, those of us that care about how other people feel don't like it when we hurt other people, but it's still not up for us to release. We may apologize, but it's for you to forgive. And I know there's people that I say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And they refuse to forgive. That's their problem. Okay, that's their problem if they refuse to forgive, not mine. I let it go. So that's important to remember, that if they don't want to forgive, that's their issue. You can still let it go and be sorry and make amends for what you did. It's up to them to deal with the fact that they don't want to let it go. So the next one would be, where am I over responsible for others' emotional burdens? So are you hanging on to this because someone got upset? When people say things that are just ridiculous, and there's a lot of that these days on social media, which is why I only do Facebook and LinkedIn. I don't do it, well, and Nextdoor. I don't do anything else because there's just too many crazy people out there. But what I do is, if you don't like what I said and you get nasty, I just block you. I don't care. That's your problem, not mine. I don't take it personal and I don't take it internal. You're blocked, you're gone. No second chance, you're gone. So what are you doing when someone's triggering you? Are you being responsible for their emotional burden because they couldn't deal with their own stuff? No, it's not your problem. That's their problem. Forgive them, love them, let them go. What dream or vision keeps coming back to me, and what do I fear about it? And I was having lots of dreams when I was going through this issue that I was having. I are these dreams about? It was weird. And finally I had to meditate. I said, what is this about? And that's when I found out this is why you need to let this go. So if you're having a recurring dream, even if it doesn't make any sense, and it might be a short dream, or I noticed I was watching certain things on YouTube, and why are you watching the same kind of thing over and over? It didn't make sense, and I never used to watch them at all. All of a sudden, I watched like 4 or 5 of them. It's like, what is this? It was the universe telling me I needed to process this and let it go. So what are you doing repetitive, or what dreams are you getting repetitively that you need to address in yourself in order to let it go? Because this is the perfect time, Saturn and Pisces, this is the time to let this stuff go. This is perfect. The universe and the stars and the energy are supporting you in this effort. And what do I fear about it? What is it that letting go is causing you to be afraid? Oh, if I let go, what do you think's going to happen? Nothing bad's going to happen. Okay. Nothing bad happens when you forgive. Bad things can happen when you don't forgive, and really bad things can happen when you go for revenge. But when you forgive, that's for you. That's how you move forward. That's how you move on. So forgiveness liberates you. Okay, another practice is using mantras for nervous system stability. I release what is not mine to carry. That is so simple. I release what is not mine to carry. Structure gives my spirit form and freedom. So structure is Saturn. It gives my spirit form and freedom. Form and freedom. Water washes away the old forms and creates freedom through the flow into something new. I forgive completely. That is the biggest one you can do. I forgive completely. And I sometimes say, I forgive completely and unconditionally. I forgive completely and unconditionally. And sometimes I will ask, especially at night and when I pray, I'll say, please forgive me for anything I have ever done, even things I don't even know I did if I hurt someone in any way. I do that every night. Of course, if I know I hurt someone, I do it right away. Okay, you don't want to wait. Okay, number 6 in medical astrology, the remedies to support Saturn are the bones, minerals, and the spines. You might want to get a chiropractic treatment. You want to take some electrolytes or missing minerals like I do. I've been doing a lot of extra magnesium lately. Some of the other things you can use are nettle, black sesame, fulvic acid. I take fulvic acid every day. It's really good for you. And they act as powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatories. Remember, we said you could get mystery illnesses and your immune system goes back and forth. So these are some of the things you can do, and you can get nettle as a tea, black sesame as a tea. Fulvic acid I take, it comes in a little blue bottle. To support Pisces, you can use sound therapy, color therapy like indigo or violet. And you can take spiritual baths. And we talked about the baths earlier, foot baths, salt baths, etc. Okay, so this retrograde isn't punishment. It's Saturn as the soul archetype saying, let's rewrite your karmic architecture so that your spirit can flow into a healthier body. You don't want to get sick. You don't want to go back and forth between mystery disease and well and what's going on. So just go with the flow, allow Saturn's structure to dissolve the old one through forgiveness and through community justice, and then allow the Pisces energy to flow all the negative energy away. So no matter what your trauma, your story is valid. So is your right to peace. And the only way to get peace is through forgiveness. So whether you're the forgiver, the seeker of justice, or someone still burning with rage, today's episode offers clarity on how to transmute that energy, not suppress it. You are not powerless. You're an alchemist of your own soul. So do a ritual, do a meditation, do a journal, whatever works for you, and alchemize your soul. I think that was that's the last slide. We'll do a stop share. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you. Remember, you have many tools available to help you. Do meditation if you need help. Om for Success is free. It's omforsuccess.com. It's a 37-day program, ends with a masterclass. Of course, you know the podcast. Now, this says Holistic Transformation. That's in the spring, but November 1st, it's a Saturday, we will have the Healing Mastery Summit. So I do this one in the spring and the Healing Mastery in the fall. So November 1st, mark your calendar. I don't remember, it starts at 9. I think it starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Whether I don't, I think they'll still be on Pacific Daylight Time, so it'll be Pacific Daylight Time. I think daylight savings doesn't change till the 3rd. Where's my calendar? I think I have it in my calendar. Let's see here. November, daylight savings. Daylight savings is the 8th. So yeah, the 1st will still be Pacific Daylight Time. So I know my audience is international. And so when you know it's Pacific Daylight, you can calculate. If you're on daylight savings and in Europe, I think it's -8. If you're in Europe and not on daylight savings, it's -7. Plus whatever you are past UK. Sorry, that's -8 UK time. So I'm updating the website. It has some of the talks, but Christine Breeze will have a talk, and Dr. Kinsey, both of these wonderful ladies have been on my summits before, and they will also be there. Christine can't make it live, so I have a recording of her. And you can see what else I'm going to be talking about, and it's a focus on healing, using medical astrology, talking about 5D, all kinds of cool stuff, and lots of gifts, free gifts, VIP gifts. There will be an early bird. I haven't released the things yet because I'm still waiting for things from my speakers, but it will be live, hopefully Friday or Monday at the latest, and you'll be able to register. So there will be a discount for early registration. And if you're free, you will only see it on YouTube. You won't be in Zoom. Only the VIPs will be in Zoom, and there will be special things that we do in Zoom only once we stop the summit from YouTube. We'll turn the summit off from YouTube and we'll continue just in Zoom. So I suggest it's going to be very inexpensive. I think the early registration is only $22. Really, you can't afford that. And then late registration is $33. Even that's not expensive. So if you're on my email list, you will get a notification when it's live. Or when it's live, I'll have a link in the show notes. The rest of this, this is going out on Monday, so I'll put the link in the show notes. So by the time you see this, it should be live. I'm recording this. What's today? Today's Thursday. So I'm recording it early. And oh well, I recorded it early. So by the time you see it, it will be live. And it's healingmasterysummit.com. But if you put in holistictransformationsummit.com, it takes you to the same place. I just switch out the websites. It's the same place. Okay, so thank you for joining us. I hope this was helpful. I really enjoy it when you put comments. You can disagree if you like, just to be respectful, or you can tell me, hey, why don't you do something like this? Or you can talk about how it impacted you or whatever you went through. And if you do a like and subscribe, it helps the channel. And I've been getting lots of new subscribers these days, so I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate all of you very much. And thank you for joining us. And remember to be the light you want to see in the world.